it's really easy to like, especially for all the high achieving kids, it's really to like easy to beat yourself up for something you don't have or something that you're not instead of like, enjoying what you are. For me especially, every single time I ran into one of those like freaking errors on the computer screen, I would beat myself up. I'd be like, someone else could have done this so easily. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? I'm supposed to be good at this. This is supposed to be like my jam. But like celebrate what you are. Like there's no point in thinking about what you're not.
Hi there, this is
Exclusive hot.
Hello, welcome all to this special episode of the Why to How podcast, where we explore adventures in STEM. After an absolutely incredible Candlelight Science Fair a couple of months ago, it was clear that you all wanted to hear more from our Platinum and Best Project Award winners. So, over the next few weeks, maybe a couple of months, I'll be catching up with them all to learn more about their STEM Fair projects and the adventures that they've had along the way. Today, I'm joined by Trisha Haldar, a grade 9 student from Windsor and our Junior Innovation Platinum Award winner at Candlelight Science Fair 2025 for her project, Visual Drug Interaction Checker. And might I just say, Trisha, thank you for not having a super complicated and very, very long and wordy project title, because that in
Yeah,
the sense.
that was like one of my criteria. I was like, should I make this like really long and really complex? But I was like,
No. Keep it simple, keep it simple. Um, so I've got plenty of questions. So without further delay, let's get into it. Trisha, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
glad to be here. I'm really happy for this opportunity.
Of course. We got lots of very fun things to say. You've got a very, very interesting project.
Yeah.
Before we talk about your project though, tell me what was going through your mind when they announced you as the Platinum Award for Innovation this year.
Oh my gosh, it was actually insane. Like when I walked into the award ceremony, I was like, "Whew, okay, I don't want to be the only person from my region to go home without a medal." So I was like praying for anything, something to justify all the nights that I didn't sleep working on my project. But I feel like when I heard my name for platinum, I was like, okay, I'm dreaming. Like it's like I'm kind of delulu right now. But yeah, it was amazing. It was truly it's truly an unforgettable moment.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, what a fun and nerve-wracking night that just ends up with so much excitement. And I mean, you deserve it. Your project is really cool, and
Yes.
you're fascinating, and you're such a good communicator, as everyone's about to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Okay. So speaking of communication, first and foremost, can you give us your elevator pitch for your drug interaction checker in 30 seconds or less?
Okay, so hi, my name is Trisha. I'm a grade 9 student from Windsor, Ontario, and my project is about visualizing drug interactions using an innovative and novel and accessible visual drug interaction checker. So my project was inspired by my grandma, who, as a senior citizen with many health conditions, she often has to take a lot of medications on a daily basis. And the problem with that is that the more medications you take together, higher the chance of developing something called an adverse drug interaction, which can be potentially fatal. So my project was an educational tool that could really help visualize this information in a way that anyone can understand, regardless of their background.
Whoa, that's like spot on 30 seconds as well. Did you time that? Your little stopwatch in your hand? Well practiced.
No, it was like off the top of my head.
Good. I love it. And that's such a perfect example of what an elevator pitch should look like for a project. Like you didn't go on super complicated. There's more questions to come, but you've
I hope
invited those
so.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I gotta keep the best for last.
good. Well, can you tell me, how did you first learn about the dangers of drug interactions? Where did this idea come from? Obviously, you mentioned your grandma. Is that like the personal story that really
So,
prompted this whole thing?
I So my project was, as you know, inspired by my grandma. She was actually visiting us. I think it was like last summer, and she had to take a lot of medications with her as she was staying with us. And she used to tell me how her doctors always used to tell her that there's some medications that she just can't take together. but she would often end up being very confused on it because a lot of drug interaction information is available online in long, lengthy paragraphs of text, which, as you can imagine, for anyone would be super confusing. Imagine you have like 7 drugs, right? And then you go online, you try and find what interactions your medications might have. And you get something like this: drug A interacts with drug B, drug C interacts with drug F interacts with drug A interacts with drug C. Now you can kind of imagine how difficult, like, you have the individual interactions, but it's really hard to see the bigger picture and to see patterns and to see connections. And if it was hard for me to understand it, you can imagine how it would be for a senior citizen like my grandma. So I wanted to make something that would really make this knowledge accessible, because the thing is that if patients are deterred from using drug interaction checkers, or if they find the information like too complex or something that they can't understand, they simply won't take the initiative to make informed decisions about their own health or go do the research to ask informed questions to their doctor. So I wanted to make this knowledge really accessible and something that anyone can use.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful mission to, like, it's such a fun challenge as well to try to address. Can you tell me, I imagine this wasn't the only idea you
It was
considered. Can you tell
definitely a
me
challenge.
when was the exact moment that you realized that this project
Oh
idea
my
could
gosh,
work?
I probably went through like a million ideas. Like, I knew I wanted to do something with medications, but I didn't know exactly what I should do and where I should start. And that's, I feel like, is one of the hardest parts about doing a science fair project, is that it's so daunting to take that first step because there's so many, like, you don't know what lies ahead of you, how much of a time commitment this will be, if this idea is even good or not in the first place. And while I was sitting there in my room for like hours on end, just thinking, I realized that I wanted to do something that would like actually make an impact. Because when I was in grade 7, I also did a science fair project, but that science fair project didn't land me very far. And I realized why, because it wasn't really helping people. Yeah, it was pretty cool and all, but it didn't really have an impact. And I wanted to tailor my project so that even if I don't win anything, it can at least help someone, even if it's one person. So once you find your audience for your project, I feel like everything just comes into place. When I thought of this idea, I was like, yes, I want to do this. Because even if my project is really bad, at least I would have learned a lot and I would have made at least like a minimum viable like product for my grandma to try it out. So that was really important for me when choosing what idea to do.
Wow, what a what an answer. Gonna clip that, put that one on social media. I think that's perfect. It is. It is. There's so many ideas and so many challenges. Um, was there something specific that you were
Yeah.
like, okay, this idea works, and all the other ones not? Like, how do you actually like make that final decision? What's the thing that was like, okay, this is the one?
Okay, so I would say there are two factors to it. The first factor for me, at least, was the deadline. I feel like, I don't know why, but for some reason, some of my best ideas come when there's a deadline. When there's like like X number of months before the fair, I'm like, okay, enough about like thinking about ideas. I gotta stick to one, and even if it's a bad idea, I can always improve on it, because what was happening was that I was switching between topics from this topic A to topic B to topic C to topic D, and just having that deadline at the back of my mind, being like, okay, I need to present something, that really helped me narrow down and commit to an idea. And the second thing it was that I really love the visualization aspects of things. How even information that's presented slightly differently can cause something to click. And the problem is that a lot of websites online and a lot of resources online are always tailored to one specific demographic of people. And it's just, there has to be another way. There has to be something that's like, we have to tailor our tools, our services, so that they can actually help people, because we're not all the same. something that I may understand easily may not come as easily to my brother. And that's why it's so important that we have diversity in our tools and our services, especially those that are health related, because like this is like really serious. It's a serious topic. So education is really important when it comes to health.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Was there something that surprised you when you started researching this issue? Like when you were in that problem discovery phase, that you were just like, "What? What do you mean? Like what?"
Yeah, there's actually this one statistic that even after months, like I just can't forget it because when I was doing my research, and believe me, there was plenty of research when going into this project. The one statistic that stuck in my mind was the fact that patients that take five or more medications face like a 58% chance of adverse drug reactions. But that number scales up all the way to 82% when patients take eight or more medications. And I remember thinking that I was like, what? Like our most vulnerable communities are communities like people with disabilities, people with chronic sicknesses, and our seniors. Why is it that they have to face the most danger when trying to, because many people they take medicines to alleviate their pain and to really help them heal. But why is it that they have to face additional risk? So that just really stuck out to me. Like that was not right.
It's not. It's not. And I'm glad that you have this amazing solution to that problem. Can you walk me through how your visual tracker actually works? Explain it. Explain it like I'm 5 years old. Like what?
Of
How does it
course,
work?
yeah.
What's visual?
Okay. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna say this like I am my grandma, okay, and I'm using the tool. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put in the names, the brand names of all the medications I'm taking. For now, let's say we do four, but the average patient would probably put anywhere between 5 to 8-ish. So let's say I put in drug A, drug B, and drug C, and drug D. I put it in, and the program outputs out four graphs. So these are network graphs. The first graph is a drug-drug interaction graph. So I want you to imagine this. There are a web of connections, and each medication is displayed as a circle. And if there's an interaction between them, there will be a line connecting them. So even while quickly taking a glance, you can quickly see, okay, which medications have interactions, which medications don't, which medications you can really see patterns. And this is even more helpful as the number of medications grow. Like for four medications, you're like, okay, well, I could just read this and I'd still be able to understand. But imagine you have like eight or nine. Instead of reading through everything, if you could just look at it from like a graph, I feel like that is really, really helpful. And then in the first graph, you'd also get a table, and the table also has the text information about the drug interactions. Because I feel like for a lot of people, like me and everyone else I've asked, it helps to switch between looking at it visually and looking at it textually. There's also food interactions on the first graph. A lot of people don't realize this, but the food you eat actually affects how well medications are broken down in your body. Um, yeah, so we can talk about that more later. My second graph is actually a drug target interaction graph. And this is where it gets really interesting. So you see how in the first graph, you can see, okay, drug A interacts with drug B. But like, why? Why do they interact? What's about them that makes them interact? Well, in the drug target graph, the second graph, you can see, okay, these two drugs may interact because they share the same target. Maybe they're like competing for the same target, and maybe that is reducing the efficacy of both the drugs. So that's what's in the second graph. Now, the third graph is also really interesting because even if two medications may not have the same target, they may have targets that are in the same protein family. So targets that are similar, for example, let's say there's target A and target B. They're part of the same protein family, meaning that they affect the same biological processes. So maybe it's likely that since drug A and drug B both affect something in the same part of the body, it's likely that they could interact. And the fourth graph and the last one is a drug class graph. So we basically see, okay, two medications, are they part of the same class? So let's say you have aspirin and you have warfarin. Okay, we know that if you take them together, they may bleed. But why? Like they may increase the chance of bleeding. But why? Because aspirin and warfarin are both anticoagulants. And anticoagulants have this really interesting property where they thin out the blood. So you can imagine that, okay, if I take aspirin and if I take warfarin together, then it's likely going to thin my blood, which is likely to increase internal bleeding. So that's why I feel like having all four graphs together, you can really get like an overview, like a comprehensive overview of what is going on within, like, why are these two medications interacting? And that just proves like a depth of knowledge, especially since it's also visual.
Yes, certainly a comprehensive solution to a problem that sounds pretty or like relatively easy, you would think, to solve for. But you've definitely like given a very comprehensive view and shown like just how many different pieces there are that's involved in this one little thing.
Yeah, I hope that made sense. I was kind of rambling on there. But let me know if I'm talking too fast or anything.
You're doing great. You're doing great. So that covers how the project works. Let's get nerdy for a second here because our audience are nerds. We love it. Talk to me about programming languages you used, what databases you had access to. Like, talk to me about the actual like construction of this project. How's it work?
Yeah, the nitty-gritty. Okay, so I feel like for all science fair projects, you need a really good source of data. This cannot be stressed enough because your data is what makes or breaks your project. Like a lot of projects, they start off with faulty data and they do so much work with it, work so hard, but in the end, because the data was bad, their entire project comes crashing down. So I kind of learned this the hard way ish because I ended up downloading some data that was simply like not it. It was really like it's pretty bad. And I was glad that I paid attention enough to spot that there was problems with it. So I ended up doing like hours of research. And for me, it's important to really break down what your data is going to be used for. For instance, for me, I had certain rules in place for my data. My data had to be obviously really reliable because this is like medicine information that has to be the most accurate and the most updated. That was important. It also had to have a wide variety of information on different medications. Um, and also it has to be something that I can programmatically really like be able to pull information from. So something that is in a format that my computer can easily understand. And I came across Drug Bank. So Drug Bank is a source of data that has it's a drug bank. Well, yeah, it's a database with over 500,000 drugs. And I was able to apply for a free academic license in order to use that data. So because I was able to use that data, I basically took the data, it was in the XML format, which is kind of like, have you seen the structure of HTML? XML is pretty similar in terms of the structure where you have different elements nested within each other. And because the structure is so standardized that if you can if you can pull information reliably about one medication, you can repeat that process over and over again for like thousands of medications because the structure is so consistent. It has to be something that's flexible and something that's consistent. So I pulled the information, put it in like a spreadsheet, and from that spreadsheet, when I started writing my program, it was in Python because it's like one of the only languages I'm pretty good at, and it has some amazing libraries like pandas for data manipulation. And okay, the two libraries which were like completely like saved my life was Network X and Plotly. So these were the libraries that I used to create my graphs in the first place. Like this project would not have happened without them. So yeah, that's basically a quick overview of what I did.
And so you mentioned you already could code in Python. Uh, how much learning did you have to do
Yeah.
to then do your project, if that makes sense? Like how much knowledge did you have to gather? How much did you already know about drugs and interactions? And like you've obviously got the biology side of things, but you've got the programming and technical side of things too.
It was quite the journey. I don't know how else to say it. It was a journey. I thought that I was pretty smart knowing like basic Python, but when I walked in there and I saw like it was insane. I had to really learn a lot on the fly. Like, for instance, all the libraries I use, I have never used them. Like I've never used them ever. So I had to learn the syntax. I had to go ahead and really do a lot of self-teaching because I thought that this would be relatively simple. Like I would just like use Python and just be done. But Python is so like it's so varied. There's so many libraries and it can look like a completely language entirely when you use some of those libraries. You're introduced to all these new modules and I had to do a lot of learning, but it was definitely interesting. A lot of dead ends. I actually used some libraries that didn't end up in the final product. In the final product, like there's this one library I was using for data manipulation, and that library it worked, but is way too slow for 500,000 drugs. So you end up also learning a lot of tools that don't really make it into the final project. And you got to be like prepared for that because it's not going to be like a smooth road. You're not going to know like okay, use pandas, use this, use that, use network X, use plotly and then your project is done. You're going to try 5 different libraries for the same purpose. You're going to try out 5 different libraries and end up settling on one. So yeah, it's definitely quite the journey.
Well, it's all about the journey, right, and not the destination, as they say. If you this is
Yep.
such a random side note, but there's a fascinating documentary on the origin story of Python as a programming language on YouTube. It's actually called Python, the documentary in origin story. Highly,
Yeah,
highly recommend. It's like an hour and a half, and it's just fascinating to see
that's really
this like group of people talk about how they just created Python as a programming language. So add that to your watch list
yeah, I
one
love
day.
Python because it's so versatile.
It
Aw,
really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, so lots and lots of learning. Made sense. How are you tracking all of this? Like, are you just writing
Yeah.
notes by hand? Are you using Apple Notes, Notion? Like, tell me how you're like actually tracking what you're learning, what you're researching, your to-do list. Like, step me through the process of doing a STEM project yet to a visual drug checker.
So the thing is that since this was like a programming project, I don't think it would have been really practical to write all my notes by hand. So basically, I opened up like a text editor on my laptop, nothing fancy, like your basic text editor. And I just started like spamming tons of research, like tons of links initially when I first started the project, because you never know what link might be important. And it was like the same thing with my code because the thing about programming is that even like a single thing, if you do it wrong, it's gonna break your code, and you're gonna spend hours trying to debug it and find out what went wrong. So, for if you're doing a programming project, I highly suggest once you get a code that's working, immediately like save it somewhere. You have to save it because a lot of times what happened was that I would be tinkering around with my program, trying this, trying that, and trying multiple things at once, and then suddenly the program would break, and I'm like, okay, what did I change that made the program break? And how can I go back to when the program was working? So always, always, always keep your notes, like, keep it organized, of course, but also make sure you save everything. Make sure you always track your progress because not only is it going to make for an awesome logbook, you're also going to be able to look back, look at your process, and you shouldn't like feel bad about having to go back a couple steps. For me, a lot of the times was I would try with new tools and then have to end up going back to my old version of my code. So yeah,
Are
it's
you
a
using
lot of
Git? Are you pushing on
obviously
GitHub?
I didn't start off with like really see huh? Sorry. Oh no,
Are
I
you
didn't
using
use
Git?
GitHub for this project because
Trisha, what are you doing?
um no, I didn't use I don't I didn't really know how to use GitHub, so I just decided to just go the old-fashioned way and just use like a simple text editor. But my final project, like I'm still working on my project still, trying to do like a web interface for it and trying to change a few things, tinker here, tinker there. But I feel like once I get like a final version of my project, which I'm pretty happy with, then feel like I can go on GitHub and then just like put it there and just save it.
You know, you're gonna be using GitHub for the development journey. You're supposed to be pushing commits and stepping through because you can always roll back on GitHub. How do you recommend if you're continuing to work on this project?
Yeah, that's definitely like yes. Yes, definitely. If I do another project next year on programming, that's definitely going to. I feel kind of bad because I made a lot of mistakes. I deleted like really important codes, and the whole process, it's not as glamorous as they make it seem on TV. Like it's a lot of messy stuff, really. And I feel like now that I have the experience with just even doing one science fair, okay, I know I learned from my mistakes. I learned that you always save, and maybe I'll use GitHub next time. But it's all about learning from your like mistakes. That's really important. Don't like repeat your mistakes. Always like learn from them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all a learning journey, right? Like I don't expect you to have everything down pat. I don't expect you to be a super professional who's been doing this for 30 years. You know, that's
Yeah.
longer than you've been alive. So you learn from your mistakes and don't repeat them is a good message.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh you
For
mentioned it's
sure.
not glamorous as it's shown on TV. Is there a specific moment that you can remember where you're just like, this is not working? And how did you push through that? How did you decide to not give
Oh
up?
my god. So, like when you see documentaries about people who have had success during science fairs and they have such amazing projects and you look at your like heap of code and you're like, what am I doing? I feel like what really helped for me is that for me, what really helped is whenever I have a program that's simply not working, like there's a bug, I don't know what to do, I just like shut down my laptop and I just go for a walk. Because just stressing about the problem, especially if you've been at it for more than an hour, it's better to just close your laptop and just go for a walk. Because the thing about like programming and errors can happen for like the stupidest reasons, like especially in Python, if there's like a bad indentation or you accidentally use the wrong variable name, your whole code, which can be like thousands of lines long, can just break. And that's really frustrating. It's the most rage inducing thing ever. Where you've been at it for so long, you try it over and over and over and over again until you just want to like smash your head into the wall. You just have to remember to breathe. Like, there is a life outside the science fair project. Don't, you can be you can be an overachiever and be like, okay, every single day I'm gonna do like 9 hours of this. It's gonna hurt you a lot more than you realize. You have to realize that sometimes the best work is done when you aren't grinding for 9 hours. The best work is sometimes done when you take a break, you still do the things you love. Like science fair shouldn't be your entire life. This science fair project shouldn't be your entire life. So go ahead, like go do something you love. For me, it was drawing. I love to draw. And whenever something would go wrong, I would just close my laptop, listen to music for like half an hour, draw, and then come back and revisit the problem.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. I love just being able to step away and just disconnect for a couple of minutes really helps to just like settle, right? Like you exist in that moment, you let the emotions flow
Yeah.
through you, you feel them,
Mhm.
you breathe, and then you just move on. Nice. I like that approach.
Mhm.
How long did this project take you from initial idea when you very first had the idea to all right, I'm done, I'm ready to present this project?
Okay, so the thing was that for me, at least, the idea generation stage was like the longest. And it was kind of like for an undefined period of time. It was like I'd always be thinking about it in the back of my head, but I only started doing like actual real work, like for my project, like around 4 or 5 months before my regional science fair. And even after my regional science fair, I added like three new features to because you can always update your project. So I I don't know because I've always been thinking about science fair like for a long time. And you could say I have been working on it when you're just thinking about it and trying to constantly brainstorm ideas. The actual period would have probably been a lot longer, but excluding all that, I would say like 5-ish months.
Okay. That's a long time. It's a long time to be thinking about like one project on top of all your other schoolwork and life.
Kind of like a little bit of an overachiever. It was a lot. I mean, I feel like the stress really kicks your brain into gear. At least it did for me, and I was like, okay, like take a deep breath. You're overthinking too much because a lot of times what happened for me, especially when I was looking for an idea, I was trying to get a fully formed idea, like something that would be the final product. I was thinking of the final product. But what you should really do is that if there's something you're interested in, don't overthink it. Don't do what I did. Don't go and just like overthink, okay, then this, then that, then this, then that. Okay, if I do this, should I do that? Should I do this? Don't think it. Just do it. Like, even if you have like the slightest, foggiest notion of an idea, the most underformed, the most horrible idea ever, just like don't think about it. Like, just try it. Like, try to, like, for a long time, the programming part was really intimidating for me. I was like, no, I will start programming when I have my entire project figured out. But if you do that, you'll never get started. You just have, sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is just sit down and work. Just work. Like, don't be scared of failure. I was really scared of failure. Just don't. Like, you're just gonna screw yourself over more.
Is there something that you do to help you stop overthinking as much, to help you stop stressing as much? Like, talk, that's obviously something that I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast specifically, like our audience, is prime target for being an overthinking and overachieving, stressing youth. Tell us your
Yes.
secrets.
For me, my secret would be drawing, but not just any drawing. Drawing with a ballpoint pen. Because the thing about drawing with a ballpoint pen is when you make mistakes, you can't get rid of it. It's there. It's there on the paper. You're not going to be able to erase that mistake. So you learn to just accept your mistakes and to just, keep drawing. And somehow, even if I scribbled on my page, like I took a blank sheet of paper and I started off by scribbling it, like scribbling all over it, I know I can still turn it into something beautiful. And that's why I love drawing with a ballpoint pen. It stops me from overthinking too much about, like, just overthinking too much about, like, planning it out, always constantly erasing. Once it's done, it's done. Like, once you make a mistake, you've made a mistake. Now you grow from it and you can end up with something really beautiful. Also, drawing for me is just a way to like block out. Like my brain like just goes silent when I draw. It's like it's probably, I don't know if that's like the healthiest coping mechanism, but like just to like shut your brain off and to just maybe definitely put on like a podcast in the background. I don't know, maybe even yours. You put on a podcast. I usually listen to true crime. And yeah, or a mystery or audiobook and just like, like take the afternoon off. That's what I always do.
Yeah, find something that brings you peace and find space and time in your schedule to allow yourself to find that peace, right? It's about stepping away and not doubling down, which is so easy to do when you're stuck on a problem. It's so easy to just like double down and just keep going and going and going and going, but you end up just digging a
I
hole that
know, you get like stuck in that toxic mindset. Yeah, like I'm not being productive. Like like I'm so screwed. My deadline is coming up. Like I need to be productive. I need to work on this. And it's so bad for you. Especially for me like like the second like two there were like 2 more weeks till like Canada White Science Fair, and I remember getting stuck in that like toxic thought pattern where all I could think of was I got to get this done. My code isn't working. What am I supposed to show the judges? Like I promise you, you have time. You have time to just, even like if it's like half an hour, go watch your favorite show. Don't like, cause I will say that period of time was the most stressed I've ever been. Like I was nauseous. I felt like just like crying all the time. Don't work yourself to the bone. You're doing more harm than good. If you're relaxed and have an okay, I'm doing it for the experience kind of mentality, that's gonna take you really far. It'll calm you down and actually end up helping you.
Trisha, I don't love hearing that you're crying from stress, but I cannot wait to interview again next year when you've done this another amazing project. No pressure. And then you were just so relaxed and chill
Oh,
through the whole thing. I can't wait. I can't wait for this self development year that you've got ahead of
I
you.
promise you, if I look chill, I'm like dying on the inside. Yeah, if I look calm to you, that probably means I'm like dying on the inside. Like I'm like uh, like a lot's going on. But yeah, like definitely science fair. You should always do things for the experience. Like never think of don't think like set really high expectations. For me, going to Canada White Science Fair and going to New Brunswick of all things, I've never been there. I was like, okay, whatever happens, happens. Okay. I'm there for the experience. I am there to go and visit the Bay of Fundy. I am there to spend a week away from my parents. And I am there to like have fun with my friends, make new friends. That is the end goal. And afterwards, if I do bad, I'm gonna cry. I'll cry a little bit, then I'll eat some ice cream, then I'll binge watch Netflix, and everything will be fine. So just do it for the experience.
Everything will be fine, and it is a part of life to learn from challenges and setbacks. It's all part of the scientific process, right? Like you're not going to achieve
Yeah.
absolutely everything you set your mind to.
Yeah, of
Everything's
course.
going to work out perfectly. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be stumbles, and that's why the scientific process is a circle and not just a straight line.
Yes.
It's good advice. I'm going to
Mhm.
ask you for some more
And
advice now.
the thing is, don't have
Oh, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
yeah. Oh, sorry, like you cut out. What did you say?
I was going to say, keep going. You were going to say something amazing before my next question.
Okay, no, no. I was just saying, like, don't be too hard on yourself. It's really easy to like, especially for all the high achieving kids. It's really to like easy to beat yourself up for something you don't have or something that you're not. Instead of like, enjoying like what you are. For me especially, every single time I ran into one of those like freaking errors on the computer screen, I would beat myself up. I'd be like, someone else could have done this so easily. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? I'm supposed to be good at this. This is supposed to be like my jam. But like celebrate what you are. Like there's no point in thinking about what you're not. And just kind of like don't beat yourself up. Because beating yourself up is only like once you beat yourself up, you're gonna feel bad about it. And then you're gonna beat yourself up more and more and more and more until like there's no end to it. So just even it's really hard. Like I understand it's so much easier said than done. Just, you know, just remember that it's not the end of the world. Like the sun is still shining out tomorrow. I could go in my fridge, I could eat ice cream right now. Like it's gonna be okay.
What a well of wisdom you are, Trisha, at such a young age. I mean, it sounds like you need to take some of your own advice, but at least you know, recognition is the first
Yeah,
stage.
definitely.
So
Yes.
I'm going to ask you for some more advice, 10. How did you balance this crazy busy 4 to 5 month long project of yours on top of school, friends, life, drawing, all the other things that you like to do?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did end up sacrificing a lot of things, which is why, like, when I got those awards and when I was able to have the satisfaction of just ending, like, just having it over with, it was the best feeling in the world. But for me, time management is kind of like a thorn in my side. It's something that I'm absolutely horrendous at. But for time management, I would say set a limit for yourself. Like every single day, be like, I'm gonna work on this for like an hour. And after that hour is done, pivot to something else. Like keep pivoting. It's like I said before, like if something is not going right for you, close the laptop, like go on a walk or do something else you need to get done. Because like yeah, your science fair project is not your entire life. So yeah, I mean, time management has always been kind of difficult for me, but I'm learning to better manage it and yeah, that's
It's good. Yeah.
just learn how to manage your time better by
It's a lifelong thing. It's a lifelong learning experience. It's a lifelong learning journey. Sometimes you're really good at time
uh,
management and you think and then you're just not.
and sometimes
And
you're
that's okay.
absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just before we started recording, you said you just slept all summer long because you didn't sleep while doing the science lab project the last few weeks, especially. So
Yes.
don't sacrifice your sleep. It's really important. I know you don't need as much sleep because you're so young, but
Yes. That is really
make
like
sure you sleep.
Like you have like a that's right. It's always important to at least get like 7 hours of sleep. sometimes, like, when you're working on something, you have to force yourself to, like, stop it and just, like, do something else. Sleep is really important. I underestimated that, and I would show up to school really groggy, and my friends would ask, "What happened?" I'm like, "Science fair happened." But when I look back at it at hindsight, maybe it wasn't that serious. Like, it just wasn't that serious. I thought that just because, like, a design element of my project wasn't working well, then judges would be the one to, like, point it out, be like, "Okay, that thing is looking a little bit too big," or that thing isn't loading properly." But it's not like that. Think of your project as a whole. Don't get lost, like, don't like, you have to see the forest. Don't focus on the trees. You have to see, like, the forest. Because even small little mistakes and small little things, like, little tweaking things, that's not worth, like, losing your sleep over. Like, streamlining your code, adding, like, teeny tiny details, like, let's be honest, no one's gonna notice. It's not worth it. So just focus on your project as a whole. And if I could go back in time, I would set stricter deadlines on myself.
Nice. Do you have any study habits or routines that helped you keep on track?
Yes. So in terms of study habits, when I was particularly, well, kind of, it was basically studying for, like, the information, especially, like, all the medical information on medications, like drugs. I had to set out. So for me, what really helps is to get an overview of what I'm studying, like, just bullet points, ton of typos, just write down everything. Okay, this is what I need to learn, but this is where I'm going to stop. Because the thing is, especially, it's really easy to fall down a rabbit hole. At least I know I did. I went from, like, looking at, like, medications, like the reason why different medications interact, to somehow going on the circulatory system, like on a website about, like, arthritis. It was the rabbit holes are kind of insane, especially when you're doing deep research. It's important you put out your limitations first and be like, okay, I'm gonna start by just looking at this. I'm gonna read two links. I'm gonna like I'm just gonna read two links and that's it. And then if I feel like that's more important, I will go back and I'll read those. Like, don't get too caught up in one question. Always set up limitations on yourself. So you don't fall down another rabbit hole and end up on, like, Reddit or something.
Rabbit holes are the best, though, especially random Reddit rabbit holes. But yes, priorities. Sometimes it's more
Yeah,
important to just do the work you're supposed
it's
to be
gonna set
doing.
you down that path.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy how I learned so much about, like, something that's completely off topic. Like, my project is on drug interactions, but for some reason, I don't know why, I learned a lot about grapefruits, because grapefruits are really interesting in the fact that they inhibit some liver enzymes, which means that they block some liver enzymes that are used to break down drugs. So that's why they say don't have grapefruit with certain medications, because having grapefruit, like, that's just going to increase the toxicity of the medication. It's not going to break down. And I don't know why. Like, from that topic, I went that all the way into, like, the chemical properties of grapefruit. I don't know how I got there.
But isn't that the best thing about STEM projects and science fair is it gives you an excuse to do rabbit hole research? Yeah. It makes you more
Uh-huh.
interesting as a person. Like, you would never
Who
know
knows?
that
Maybe
fact,
I'll
and now
find
you get
something
to talk
really,
about it.
for sure. It's like it stuck with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure all your friends and family love those random fun facts that you bring to every conversation.
Well, yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
Of
How
course. I
did
make sure, like, there's always a place for grape.
how did your friends and family react when you told them that
Like,
you're
my
going to
mom
do
could be
a
at the.
project on drug interactions? Were they surprised?
Okay. They were happy I was doing a project, period. That I was actually doing something productive with my time. They were really supportive, but they also provided a really nice realistic outlook on things. They helped rein me in a little bit, because the thing is that when you're starting out science fair, you have all this ambition, you have all these hopes, but you need someone to ground you and hold you accountable. Because I was like on rainbows. Like, I was flying through clouds. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna, like, invent a new drug, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And they're like, let's be practical. What do you have? What resources do you have? How much time do you have? Like, be practical. And I think my parents did a really amazing job at that. they I didn't have a mentor really for this project. A lot of it, like basically all of it, was self-directed. But it really helps to have someone who you can confide in and just, tell them that, okay, today I'm going to be doing this goal. I'm going to be getting this done. And have them hold you accountable for that.
Yeah, it's nice to have an accountability buddy, even if they're not a scientist or someone who understands what you're doing. Just saying the words and like being public about some sort of commitment makes you more likely to do the actual thing.
Yeah. And earlier you're telling me why I didn't choose like a super complicated title for my project. It was actually my dad's advice. I was like, "Oh, should I make this like really like make it sound really impressive so judges think I'm onto something?" And my dad was like, "Let's be practical. Like, let's make your project approachable because what's important is that you always need to have like a general person's understanding. You always need like an outside perspective because for you have like a very limited perspective, like a very narrow perspective on your project. You need someone from the outside that's going to be looking in. So that's the reason why my title is only like 4 words.
That's awesome. Pass on our thanks for that brilliant piece of advice. And I mean, I'm just happy that you didn't include novel in the title
Yeah.
because every science fair project is novel. That's literally why you're there.
Of course. Mhm. Yeah, like just keep things simple. Like if I'm going to be honest, my project was kind of simple, but there's a beauty in simplicity. Like even the simple, sometimes your solutions don't have to be super convoluted. A good solution is a solution that you can look back on and be like, why didn't I think of that? It's a solution it's like an aha kind of moment, like a eureka kind of moment. Don't overcomplicate things. Like there's a lot to do, just even be doing something as broad and general as I did. There's always something simple, and there's always simple, elegant solutions to many problems. You don't need a lab, you don't need thousands of dollars. You don't need a lab. You don't need to spend you don't need like a mentor. Well, yeah, you do kind of need a mentor, but you don't need like someone who's really high ranking to help you out. I did my entire project on my like really, really slow and buggy laptop, and it cost me like literally nothing. And so just remember, a lot of people like to compare themselves to people and think, oh my gosh, it's so unfair. Like, to, like, I don't have access to a bunch of chemicals. But think about what you can do with the tools you have, and you'll see that there's a lot that's actually waiting for you that a lot of people have overlooked because they thought that it was too easy.
Yeah, life is complicated enough as it is. We don't have to make it more complicated. Let's just keep things simple and elegant. I love it.
Yeah.
So what's next? Are you planning you said you're still working on this project. Is that a possible project for next year's STEM fair season? Is this where you're going with it? Are you thinking about something different? Where are you at?
be honest, I'm kind of like I want to explore more. I love this topic, but I feel like there's also more that's waiting for me. There's more things to explore and see, and you really shouldn't like if you feel like it's time to move on, move on. There's some ideas where there's only so much you can do with it. Don't overwork it, and always don't be scared to explore. Like for me, if I have to start a new project in a completely different subject area, I'm going to have to start again from scratch. And that's really intimidating. I mean, after going from such an amazing project to starting all over at square one, that's really, really scary. But if you feel it's time to move on, move on. I mean, you're not you're not tied to the same project always. And as for like creating the website and stuff, that was because I was like bored and I thought that I could make it a little bit snappier. But I'm still thinking about my project next year. Believe me, I am. And obviously there's a little bit of stress associated. This year I've did so amazing this year. Like next year I should also try and do something as amazing. So just, be patient with yourself and be true to yourself. I love jumping from topic to topic. I have had like months where I've been obsessed with like this really niche topic in chemistry. Then I jump all the way and I'm suddenly obsessed with something like this environmental issue. Then I jump again and then I'm really interested in this one TV show that's like really random. Like, allow yourself to pursue your interests and don't box yourself in.
That's half the fun. Like, I love jumping from topic to topic. I love being curious and I love learning new things. Like, that is where the fun is. That's where the adventure comes into things. It's not just a finished project is great and all, but
Yeah.
enjoy the adventure.
And yeah, that's why, like, for me at least, sticking to one idea was really hard because I was like, well, what if I like do something in environmental science? That's really cool. But like, what if I do something in like aerospace? Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Oh, but what if I did something about like human hair? It's also important to, yes, it's good to jump around from topic to topic, but like be realistic with yourself. That's why deadlines are really cool. I love that how the stress of being like, okay, regionals is like it's in like 2 weeks. I gotta find something to do. So it's a mix. It's all obviously a balance. Be ambitious, but don't be too ambitious.
Nice. Question for you, and it's quite timely because it's basically the start of the new season. If you could go back to day one of this project, and I guess this is you talking to
Yeah.
your future self now that you are at day one of a new project, what would you tell yourself?
Don't. You know what? That's a good question. I might have to think about that for a bit. I would say don't underestimate yourself. Like, don't sell yourself short. I thought I was like the dumbest person ever, that I could not get anything easily, that I didn't have much of a skill set. But then, just like don't sell yourself short. There are always some stuff that we're all good at. Like I thought that I was completely like I was horrible at speaking. I was scared, like senseless about like the judging. But then when the judging actually happened, I found that I was like really able to talk to people pretty well, and that surprised me because usually like I'm kind of like a shy kid, but it's really surprised me how I was able to talk to people and like really connect with them. And I think that in part like my presentation in part was part of the reason why my project did so well. So you know what? Don't sell yourself short. Like you have a skill set, take advantage of that, and don't be afraid to learn new skills. Like you're not stuck with like the only things you knew. I didn't know a single thing about medications, but now I do. Like, skill sets they're not fixed. That you can always change them. So yeah, play to your strengths and explore.
What's your secret to staying motivated long term? Like you've done a 5 month project. You're looking at doing another one. What's your secret to staying motivated this whole time?
Okay, motivation is one of the things that I am a terrible procrastinator. I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, unless unless something like is there like some external forces there pushing me, it's hard for me to commit to projects because like I said before, I tend to jump between ideas a lot. It's hard for me to be tied down to one thing. So, motivation, I feel like don't have for me motivation came from being able to complete one small thing every single day. Don't like sometimes long-term goals, they don't work for me because I'm a master procrastinator. But it sets like short-term goals and understand that everyone works differently. I felt really bad because compared to some people, I started my project really, really late. But then I realized that's just the way I work. I work better when, there's less time because then I feel like I'm actually actively working towards that goal. We humans, we're more wired to think we want instant gratification kind of thing, and there's no like point about like beating around the bush about it. We want instant gratification. We want to be able to complete short-term goals and feel the satisfaction of completing those goals. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to research this one medication, and then I'm done. Like then I'm just going to close the laptop and be proud of myself for at least completing one step of 1,000 steps. Because, at least I did something, right?
Exactly. Whether every journey begins with a single step. Love a good quote. Love a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've only got you for another minute or two. So wrapping up here, a couple questions for you. Why do you think STEM and STEM projects are important for Canadian youth?
Science, like, yeah, STEM projects especially, they are amazing. I would not have learned or forced myself to learn half the things I did if I did not do a STEM project. If I did not like do science fair even. Because okay, let's be honest. Would I have found out about that grapefruit fact if I hadn't like sat down with this project? No, I would never have pushed myself. And I never would have like found out half the things I did. Like the about aspirin and well, no, not aspirin. There's something else. But anyways, I would have never have found out about how it's really cool how different medications interact and even programming. Like, do you think I would have sat down and taught myself everything I did about network graphs if I didn't have this project to really like push me to do it? It's Yes, STEM projects, I will say, they are so scary at the start. You're sitting in front of like a wall of knowledge and a wall of things you have to do, and you're like, wow, I am the stupidest person alive. But then you gotta realize that, okay, think about the benefits of doing this. Like, even if I got like a bronze at regionals, or even if I didn't get anything at all, the satisfaction, the amount of satisfaction you get when you finish something, it's like it's a lot. Like when you can actually like have something physical there. Like for me, it was my poster board. Looking at my poster board, looking at all the research I did, I felt kind of like I felt really relieved and I felt really proud of myself because, I did something. I created something. I made something that can help people. And that to me is something that is worth pushing for. So even past the first step is always the hardest. And, once you can overcome that step, you shouldn't think that your road will be easy. That's not gonna happen. The first step may have been the hardest, but you have like hundreds of potholes ahead of you. Accept that fact and keep working towards it. And set your goals, like have low expectations for yourself. I was like, okay, maybe I won't have the best UI. I won't have the best user interface, or I won't have the sleekest, like shiniest graphs. But if I can get one thing working, I made something. Even no matter how small, I made something. And yeah, so I guess that's why STEM fairs are so important. Like, and it allows me to really look at things. Like even now when I'm solving problems, I'm like, okay, wow, this is giving me science fair flashbacks. This is giving me like the whole science for flashbacks. I'm like, okay, I know how to solve this. I know that there's a start, there's a beginning, like there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. I know how to work through this. You learn a lot of soft skills too, like communication for me was a big thing. Being able to write and being able to like share my ideas because especially in science fairs, the jargon gets to you. So being able to communicate it in a way that anyone can understand is truly a skill that a lot of kids need to have.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Absolutely wonderful. Is there anyone, this is the last question, anyone you'd like to thank for supporting you through this journey? Like a final shout out before we wrap up?
My gosh, there are so many people. Okay, okay. Whew, okay. So number one would be my parents all the way. I'm gonna be honest, when I was stressed out, I was kind of a brat. I was such a brat. I was not like, I'm not proud of who I was. I was constantly like yelling. I was constantly like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Thank you to my parents. And thank you to my brother. My brother he didn't really like I don't know how much he did much, but I don't know how like what he did, but it was nice like whenever he came into my room and gave me a hug. It was a lot. Like he's my little brother, so he's still quite young, and it just reminded me that okay, whew, I'm getting ahead of myself. Then I also want to thank my elementary school, like especially the vice principal, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I would have never done science fair if my school didn't like really push us to try for it, or if I didn't know of this opportunity. Our school is really good in the fact that they basically paid for us to go to regionals. In Windsor you have to pay to get like a slot, and our school yeah, school boards, especially like public schools, funding is pretty tight. I will say that, especially in the like Greater Essex County District School Board, where I go to. But the fact that my school cared, like my vice principal cared enough to really put in the effort to actually send us the regionals. Like I would not be here talking to you if he hadn't done that, if he hadn't shown that same passion. A lot of teachers, what they do is they just show up to work, they do their hours, and then they leave. But really inspiring people to continue working and to continue, like, really inspiring people to, like, go into STEM. People think you have to be really sciencey, like, you need to be like a nerd. Like, well, you kinda have to be a nerd, but you have to be really smart. That's not true. I promise you, I am the dumbest person you'll ever meet. But, like, I still did it, right? Like, I still was able to make something out of myself. So, you always need to have that support. Whatever you do, you need to have support. And if you don't have support, find it. So, yeah, just really grateful for everyone on this quite long journey. It was definitely no walk in the park, at least no park that I've ever been to, but yeah.
Well, Trisha, this conversation has been absolutely fantastic. You are not even remotely done on your journey. It's a lifelong journey of discovery and innovation and curiosity and learning. And I'm so excited to see where you take it all.
Yes.
Thank you for the enormous amount of
Yeah.
wisdom that you
I
shared.
mean, I'm excited to see where I go too.
uh, and thank you again
It's not
for,
if you
well,
call it
congratulations
wisdom, it's
again.
more about the
So much wisdom, so much
thank you.
wisdom.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
Congratulations again on your Platinum Award. I'm sure
Mm,
we'll be talking lots more. Everyone, you should join
thank
the Purple STEM
you.
Wave Discord server. You can keep asking Trisha questions about her project there. There'll be more episodes to come. I've got another couple of conversations already organized with the other Platinum and Best Project Award winners from Candlelight Science Fair 2025. So I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you all so very much. Enjoy your journey, enjoy your adventure in STEM, and stay curious.